shadows locked inside the mind. MK Ultra memories don't keep us blind. Static on the screen, voices we don't see. Dumpers got us wired, but we're breaking free. They're watching, they're waiting, with eyes in the sky manipulating. They silence the screen.
So I'm so more progressive than Evan over here.
Yeah.
He's got like none.
I got black chickens.
That's fair. Oh, it doesn't count.
I think I think you were about to say something about eggs before.
Yeah, we had a nice haul of eggs this morning. I got about 8, which is nice. We have about 25 chickens, and they don't always lay them every single day. So it was nice having them come out today.
Yeah. So with oh man, I got to get down this camera switching thing. Sorry, we're not using my normal our Stream Deck, so I'm having to like do key binding. So it's a little it's remembering which one's which.
Going back to the old ways.
Yeah, the old school ways. So like one of the reasons I wanted to, we extended the invite to have you on is because one, you actually like engage with our stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
Mainly because we just started an Instagram account. We have followers like a pretty.
We should do
good
this
amount.
we should get on the recording.
What?
Are you gonna intro us in?
Oh. Yeah, I'll get there. We already past that point, man. We have an intro we throw in the editing process. We're
beautiful.
Good. We're good. That's why I noticed it was so dark in here. So the man, you keep distracting me about stupid things. What's wrong with you? We have a guest.
I know we gotta show respect.
No, you're showing zero respect.
I know. That's on me today.
Yeah, it's totally on him. With all that being said, it was just I just had noticed that like you had like a whole bunch of stuff you were into, and you seemed to like fall. I think it was Jay. Was it Jay's stuff?
Yeah,
Jay Gulanello.
Yeah, Jay Gulanello.
Yeah. And then having him like just seeing the interaction, then I don't know, it just kind of happened. I was like, this would be a cool person to have on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know a lot of other podcasts, because I know of at least one other that I know that they do one. Like actually personally, and they're very particular. They're like, oh, well, no, we're not going to just have anyone on. I'm like, why not? The whole point of a podcast is to have conversation. Why would you try to reserve it for someone that's like fairy tale talk? Like, what are you talking about? Just have fun, have a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like, so when we were talking about everything leading up to this, kind of like what we were going to talk about, and I know that there was like a whole arsenal of topic material, which I wanted to talk about all of it, but I feel like we kind of landed more on the, just like growing, like what you've learned throughout your life to like, just like how you got, beat cancer, and then, you do like rock climbing and all that cool stuff, which by the way, your rock climbing videos are awesome.
Yeah.
Because Evan's Evan's a very, big proponent of rock climbing, aren't you, Evan?
Yeah, absolutely. I used to compete doing that quite often. My stepson does it now, so he has taken the reins off of my shoulders, and now he is getting into the competitive side. He's climbing like V8s and V9s and doing all that cool stuff and bouldering. Wow. So, I mean,
that's very cool. Well, I only started in January, and some of my friends that I climb with are extremely experienced, and they're probably bouldering, like 7s and 8s. But after I had that infection where I had to cancel the first time we were gonna do it, I had a slight setback there. So I feel like I was like breaking a plateau at V4, and then and that happened. So
yeah, a little insight for our fans and everybody out there. We definitely wanted to have her on, I don't know, about 2-3 weeks ago, but unfortunately she had a illness. So ailment. Yeah. And we couldn't have her on, so now here we are.
Yeah. I think it was from possibly a spider bite now.
Oh geez.
Is what I think, because after everything healed up, I see these 2 little tiny dots in the spot where I had the infection. So I can't say for sure, but It was so random and out of the blue. And it was, it was really bad. It made me pretty sick. I had to go to the urgent care twice and to the emergency room once. And I just don't get sick, and it has to be a lot
Yeah.
to make me do that. I was not wanting to go at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, all that's behind me now. I'm happy about it.
That's good. So with all that being said, like, was the recovery process at least somewhat painless, or was it like really rough at first and then just
Well,
like kind of went on from there?
well, the reason I ended up in the emergency room was because it was so painful. Um, but it was they diagnosed me with cellulitis, which is just kind of a general, I guess, diagnosis. If you have an infection and inflammation, it's like under the surface of the skin,
Yes.
but it can it can go badly in a hurry. From one of my what I've learned from one of my friends who's a doctor, and he's a holistic doctor, but he said if you're already at that point, do the antibiotics because you need to nip it in the bud. So so that night I went to the emergency room, and they actually gave me a narcotic. They gave me antibiotics. And then by the next morning, it had sort of formed like kind of like a boil. I know that's so gross. So I had to go so I had to go back and have the thing lanced and drained. And oh
Oh,
my
geez.
Oh,
gosh,
cool.
it was so painful.
Oh, well, that's not cool.
Oh,
No, it's not cool at all.
oh, but once that happened, like the following week, I was playing in a volleyball tournament in Wilmington, North Carolina. So I was fine. It just took time, it took like a week and a half.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you had a good, a recovery on that. That wasn't too horrible, and you got over it. But with that being
Yeah.
said, so with, so why don't you just, I don't know, where are you right now in your life? I mean, like, what you got going on? I know you do all the rock climbing. You mentioned music
Yeah.
and just a whole bunch of other really cool stuff. So, like, what are your current ventures after just like, I don't know, life events of your, over the past several years? Where's that taking you?
Well, so I relocated from North Augusta, South Carolina to the Charlotte area, but I still live in South Carolina. I live right outside of Charlotte. And when I moved up here, well, single mom, 3 kids. My older 2, they were already on their own. And so my younger son, he moved up here with me, and I think he was 14 at that time.
Hmm.
And to, just kind of do something different. Now that I'm empty nesting, I'm I'm sort of, I don't know, I'm like trying to start a little coffee business on the side.
Oh,
I mean, I have a full-time job. I work as a publications and communications coordinator at Morningstar Ministries, and it's a great job. It gives me a lot of experience. I love proofreading and editing. That's kind of like one thing that sort of got my foot in the door with this job. But I've always had this dream of having my own coffee business. So that's kind of what I'm sort of working on right now. But it's kind of it's kind of been a slow process for me.
yeah.
Um,
I
yeah,
love coffee. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I love coffee
yeah.
so deeply. It's a bad habit of mine. I get yelled at quite a lot by my doctor about it. So you got to keep that in mind there. If you have any beans roasted, I would love to purchase those from you, and I'm sure our listeners would too. So
Okay.
keep that in mind. We'll shout that out whenever we have a chance to.
Okay.
So
Well, it's not to that point yet, but it's getting there. I do have a coffee roaster that I'm working with, and I have my website almost ready to publish, so it won't be long.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So you briefly mentioned that this might be a little touchy subject or what have you, but that you are a cancer survivor, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So a lot of times through cancer, there is a hard treatment, hard recovery. Were there any valuable lessons that you learned through the healing and health process surrounded that? Did you end up taking chemotherapy, radiation treatment, and what was your experience with all that?
Mhm. Yeah, so when I got diagnosed, I was probably the healthiest person in the world. I mean, seriously, I was at that time, I was fitness, I was personal trainer, um, fitness instructor, group fitness instructor. I was running, I was always training for Spartan races. I've done like 11 Spartan races. I have 3
Wow,
That's
trifectas.
awesome.
Yeah, so just like, fitness freak all the time. But at at the time when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, it was stage 1. I was in a really tough relationship with a uh, an alcoholic, and it was like a really, really stressful time in my life. And I think that's probably where or why I ended up with it. But also, I can say too, where the lump was where I used to stick my phone in my bra when I would like go,
Mm-hmm.
walk around the house and when my kids were little. So I think there was probably some irradiation from that phone.
Yep.
And then I think during the stressful time when my immune system was probably suppressed, that it was just susceptible to mutating.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I I ended up doing. I had a lumpectomy. They took out like 5 lymph nodes. I had chemotherapy for 12 weeks. I had this different drug for a whole year, but it's a biotherapy, so it really didn't have any side effects.
That's very good.
That's good.
Yeah, which is cool. And then I had radiation for 6.5 weeks. And during that time, I actually was working at a coffee shop as a barista and like a manager at this
Nice.
local coffee shop for some friends of mine. And I only missed like 4 days of work during during that whole time
That's impressive.
because because I was, when I found out that I had it, I just made up my mind that I wasn't gonna let it interrupt my life. And I was already, struggling so much just to keep my head above water because of this relationship that I was in. And so, honestly, working out, I was running all of the time. I would run. I wouldn't run on the days that I had chemo, but on the other days I would run about 3 miles, probably 5, 6 days a week. Sometimes I would run more if I was feeling well, but you know, I think that was sort of like my therapy when I was running because I could clear my mind. I could sort of get in a place of being grateful for my life and be grateful that I could run even while I was going through all these treatments. And also, my doctor and one of the other medical professionals during the time when I was going through this said that the effects of chemotherapy are less significant when you're in a better state of fitness and health, which I guess makes sense. So yeah, I think the running kind of kept me sane during that time, and I if I had known then what I know now, though, about big pharma and the medical industrial complex, I would not have, I would have done things differently.
So I'm
But
going to cut in here for just a second.
yeah,
You
go
briefly
ahead.
talked about the EMF potentially being, or rather, you talked about your phone potentially giving you
Hmm.
the radiation that might have caused the lump. My mother was also a breast cancer survivor. She got the double mastectomy, just cut them off, both off. They were trying to kill her, so she had to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Over here, we believe the EMF issue is a very serious thing.
Yeah.
The Faraday cages that you are able to put your devices in will potentially save your life and potentially save your brain from being scrambled.
Yeah.
With the side effects of chemotherapy, I am honestly so very impressed that you only missed 4 days of work. And I'm
that's pretty good.
Very happy
That's
you're here with us
incredible.
today, because cancer is nothing to laugh at, even no matter what kind it is. It's a serious thing to get. I also wanted to say that the holistic and natural side of things is probably the most optimistic viewpoint to cancer treatment that has been coming out of all these recent studies and researches about EMF and cancer through breast cancer awareness. And it is October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So yeah, it's very fitting to have you on. It was serendipitous in that sort of respect. We didn't really plan that out.
Look at you using $5 words, dude.
Serendipitous.
My
It was my word of the day.
I like it.
I had to get it in.
You had to get it in.
I like it.
Speaking of the, with the, about how you were carrying your phone and you would keep it in your bra and, you're inclined to believe that that's what caused it. I'm inclined to believe it too, because I did a bit of digging into cancer rises in men and women.
Yeah.
Women's breast cancer has skyrocketed ever since the first true mobile phone came out. Well, I'm not talking about, smartphone.
Wow.
I'm not talking about like the Nokia brick phones. I'm talking about the first like kind of smartphone, like not the Razor. That wasn't a smartphone. It was I forgot which one it was that was technically the first.
Was it the Sidekick?
Whichever ones. Early 2000s, mid 2000s, when that came about. There was a rise in testicular cancer, and there was a rise in women's breast cancer, because women were keeping their phones in their bras, which is very common. That like almost every girl I've known has done that, either like in high school to like when I got grew up, and now like over the past 20 years since I've been out of high school, it's just like they still do it, And then, like, on the guy's side of things, now the guy's percentage of testicular cancer that's risen since then has been on the lower end. But I personally, from my research I've done, I think the reason why men's cancer has not skyrocketed as much as the women who get breast cancer is because where men put their phone, it's they either throw it in their back pocket or they have it clipped on their side, because a lot of these guys are working, or they have it in their front pocket. And you would think, well, okay, well, it's in the front pocket. It's going to, it's right there. Well, actually, there's a barrier. It's all the muscle on your leg. It literally acts as a barrier to right there on women. For women, it's mainly, there's a, don't wrong, like women can work out and they can have, obviously have some chest muscle, but it's less dense muscle. It's more fat tissue. And so fat tissue absorbs, radiation into the cells far more efficiently than muscle cells do, muscle tissue. So it's like, I just from when I was reading about all that stuff and did this weird deep dive into it, because I do that, I get like hyper focused on something that is somewhat irrelevant in some way, and then I just like won't stop. But the reason why I did digging into it is because they thought I had testicular cancer a few years ago. Turns out I didn't, luckily enough.
Turns out you had really high testosterone.
Yeah, dude. That's exactly what was happening.
Nice.
I do have an overproduction of testosterone, though. Just a smidge. That's why I'm way cooler than Evan over here. Yeah, dude. Do something, dude. But yeah, no, I think that, with the phones themselves, especially now, like with all the stuff that we've covered, we've actually done episodes talking about microwave radiation, guns, to like things that are actually real that they tried to cover up for a long time. Now it's public knowledge. You can look up the patents, these things that were invented in the early 50s. And the core of those concepts all had to do with frequencies. Everything from radio wave frequencies to, you name it, a whole bunch of different layers and levels to it. But the phone, the especially nowadays with how the smartphones work, all of those, like your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and then also like the actual signal emission that's coming from the phone, they are proving now, just within the past like 5 years, enough independent journalists have come out and basically were like, yeah, this is actually leading to cancer.
Well, Steve
pretty
Jobs was
heavily.
quoted in his biography saying that he would never let his children or any of his family members use his devices because they produce so much radioactivity.
Yep.
So
Because
Wow.
there's
take that as you will, huh?
yeah, take it as you will. But yeah, so
Wow.
well, I'm glad that you overcame that. I think fitness is wildly important, and I think that my dad's going through chemo right now. I forgot what
Sorry.
the thing was. They caught it in the early stage, so he's fine. But one thing that he
He's
was
good.
actually here like 2 weekends ago, and he was telling me that his chemo treatment has become less taxing on him because he started biking every day, doing cardio.
Nice.
And so he would just, he said he does it on like a stationary bike, but he does it out like inside and outside. He'll just move it outside. So he's in the sun doing it. And he just noticed that if he goes and bikes 10 miles cycles 10 miles on a stationary bike, he just noticed that all of a sudden all of his chemo treatments recently have been kind of a breeze. Like he's recovering faster from it. He's less fatigued. He's less all the side effects you get from it and everything like that. So I think health and fitness, just doing things where you're just staying active and actually moving yourself and actually trying to take care of yourself to some degree, plays a huge role in getting over these things. All that fun stuff.
Yeah.
You
I agree. And I think, I think also too, like physiologically speaking, when you're moving your body, you're circulating the blood through, and you're also, when you're, contracting your leg muscles, you're also pumping the lymph back up. And so I think your body detoxifies of the chemicals more quickly because of that. I know, like when I would finish running, especially the day after I had chemo, I literally had this chemical smell like in my nose, and it was the weirdest thing. And I was like, well, this has to be the chemo. Like what else could it be? And I was like, well, I guess it's a good thing because it's coming out, but it comes out of your pores and your sweat, any bodily fluids, it's such a weird
thing.
thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're like, one, that you recovered from it and you conquered that, but then two, the fact that you're actually paying attention to all those things about your body while going through it. A lot of people don't even pay attention to that stuff. Like even people who do go through it and they go through the whole treatment process, they may talk about like kind of generic things like side effects, but they don't focus on the details of what their body's actually doing and et cetera, et cetera. So I'm glad that you pay attention to it. I think being aware and vigilant, no matter what the situation is wildly important. But yeah, you look like you wanted to say something.
Who, me?
Yeah, you look like you're chomping the bit. You're like,
no, I'm just here loving the conversation. Being a part of it is a very good thing to hear and put out to the world, that the electronic devices that you are carrying around in your body at all times probably aren't going to be the healthiest thing for you. And I know that there has been a lot of research that has been coming out recently. People are really waking up, and I hate using that fucking phrase. Sorry.
Oh, wait, is it a fuck word, dude? There's a lady present. My God.
I said my mama would raise me right, but I lied. So
It's okay.
the mass population is really coming aware to the fact that these devices that we're always carrying around are not going to be potentially healthy for us. So hopefully they can find a new alternative. We can step away from the smart iPhone or the Android that is producing these things. I hope some really smart person out there can create a new technology that doesn't really use these EMFs.
Well, that's why I am a huge fan, if it's true, of Elon Musk's new phone.
Yeah.
Now that one apparently.
Tell me about this. I don't know about this.
So could you pull up details on that? I'm not going to try to quote every detail off the top of my head because I'm going to get it wrong. But it is basically a very secure private phone, and basically your data doesn't get sold. It's got lots of cybersecurity barriers in place for protecting yourself. The other thing is it's made out of, what is it? Some form of, I forgot what kind of casting metal it is or something, but it actually produces less frequencies that are harmful to the body. And and that says, that may not say a lot, because obviously you have the frequency that's going to the phone, right? Like going back and forth.
Right.
So it's like, but the phone itself, like even like a regular iPhone or an Android phone, they all put off other frequencies other than the traditional cell service, things like that, from the phone itself. So it's a step in the right direction.
The device is pretty cool. He's going to call the Tesla phone the Tesla Pi 5G phone. It's going to be solar charging, photography capability, a really powerful phone camera. It's going to be able to use Neuralink. It's going to be able to use, which I'm not getting no damn Neuralink.
Do you want to get Neuralink, Jena? Do you want Neuralink where they put a chip in your head?
I don't think so.
Good. You're part of us now. We don't want to do that either. I've seen Terminator a bunch of times. I know how this is going to play out. I'm like, especially the part with Mr. Schwarzenegger, friggin' where he opens up the back of his head and peels it open to get the show the chip and stuff, where he peels it. Oh no, I'm thinking of Terminator Salvation, where you like
you're getting your Terminator movies
either way,
mixed up, huh?
It's a Terminator. And he literally pulls the skin open in his ear and rips out the chip, and I'm just like, it's Neuralink, dude. It's happening. They foretold it long ago in cinema movies. You look hyper focused.
Yeah, I'm over here trying to find out any. I didn't know that there was a Tesla phone coming out until you mentioned it just a moment ago. So now I'm over here trying to see any technologies that's going to come out of it. Apparently, it's not going to need a SIM card. Apparently, it's going to be all based off satellite usage and all of that fantastic, fancy stuff.
That's actually pretty cool. If it's based off satellite, then what I was saying was correct.
Yeah, so there's not going to be really any EMF based around the 5G towers that are going to be pushed around you. It is going to be 5G capability if you want to use it, but it's mostly going to be based off of satellite technology, which is very cool because hopefully Boeing's satellite doesn't take out all the other Starlinks up there, because Boeing messed up and blew up one of their satellites in orbit.
Yeah, good old Boeing. I've always wanted to fly on one of their planes. I am not worried.
Is there anything on your mind? Hey, you haven't corrected me on your name yet, Jena.
It's Jena.
You can punch him, seriously, just you can order elephant poop in the mail.
Yeah, you can mail it right to my P.O. box.
Right to him. No, I'll give it his real address off air.
No, wait, hold on.
No P.O. box. That's not as fun.
No, it's okay. Well, I mean, we'd never spoken, so I know when people see how my name is spelled, they usually say Jena. So that's why I went into this whole explanation with the phonetics in the email.
And I'm still getting it wrong.
Well, I started to get it right, and then he kept getting it wrong, and then it was like the what was it? Just like an Uno reverse card, pretty much. And next thing I know, I was saying it wrong. So we can say that all the times I said it wrong, it was just Evan.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
I accept that.
Fair.
There we go.
Fair.
Okay.
But moving on from that, I do have a question for you. So I know that you, obviously, you've been through, you've lived a full life so far. You've experienced things, obviously from cancer all the way to. You had mentioned dealing with a partner who had, alcohol issues, things like that. It looks to me, from what it sounds like, you're in a far better place now than you were at those times. But with that being said, what was some, when you were, because I've been in relationships before where, partner had an issue, a substance abuse problem. What was something what helped you get away from it? What was the turning point? Was it something you just felt stuck or something? Or was it, because I felt stuck at one point in time, and it was just, you know what I mean? What was the turning point? What gave you the weaponry mentally to be able to break away,
Yeah. Well, he He was honestly I think the straw that broke the camel's back for me was he said something really, really terrible to my son, who I think was probably 11 or
Mm.
12. I don't remember how old he was.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my baby. He's a very sensitive, sweet kid. Well, he's about to be 21, by the way. So this was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he's, still just very sweet, very sensitive. Well, he had found a lizard. My son's like the animal whisperer.
Love that.
He had
Yeah.
found a lizard, and he had this lizard in a box, and we actually took it with us on vacation, and it's, survived. And when we were on the way home, I guess it died, and he started crying. We were driving in the car. He started crying, and I was trying to comfort and console him. And my partner, he said, just throw it out the window. It's a bug. It's like a bug. And I was driving, and I was so enraged. I was like, I want to just keep driving, but open that door and just kick him out. And
Hell
I don't
yeah.
care if I ever see him again, because he really hurt my son's feelings, and I knew how painful that was for him to hear that. And honestly, from that point on, I was like, I had just made up in my mind that I'm not going to deal with this anymore. It was a very complicated, I guess, situation, because we were living together. But I started saving my money, and I found a friend. She had gone through a similar thing, and she said, you and Elijah's my son, you can come live with me until you get on your feet, or till you figure out what you want to do. So I just kind of was secretly planning all of this. And the reason I say secretly is because anytime that I tried to confront him about his issue, he would just, go crazy. And
Yeah.
he had violent tendencies. Although he never hit me, he almost did a couple of times. And I was afraid that if I confronted him, or if I tried to even do like an intervention, that he would probably flip out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so I just had to, I just had to leave,
Yeah.
yeah, and just cut it off, which I did. I mean, I tried. He continued to kind of harass me for a while, but thankfully I didn't have to do anything like a restraining order. He ended up moving out of state. But yeah, it was really for my son's sake. I didn't
Yeah.
want him to be around that anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna go
yeah.
out on a limb here and say you did the right thing. And over here,
Yeah.
over at Smartly Uneducated, we do not support any sort of spousal abuse. So
Unless it's consensual.
unless it's consensual,
Unless
yeah.
it's consensual. Okay. 2024. I filled out my consensual papers. My consent papers. That's it. That's
there
what it's
you go.
called.
Your consent papers.
Yeah. I consent, dude.
You think Donald Trump's gonna send out consent papers?
Hell no, dude.
But either way, we don't support that in any fashion. So if you are in a difficult situation, call us, hit us up. We will come beat some ass.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like, yeah. Fuck that guy. Let's
You sound way better without him. It sounds like a great life you got going on now.
Oh yeah.
You got a bunch of dogs. You
Oh.
got some chocolate. You got some.
I love chocolate. Dude.
You got some coffee. You got a lovely son. Sounds like you got a great
Yeah.
life going
Yeah,
on
and
now.
and your son, you had sent us well, I think it was a video.
Yeah, he sent one of his songs. It was badass.
Yeah, it was in songs. It was dope.
Wasn't it amazing? Like he's so so talented, so amazing. All my kids are, they're very talented in their own special ways, but
Yeah.
he's like a musical genius. He's amazing. I love his music.
Yeah.
So I share it with everybody.
You know,
As you should, as a good mother does.
when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
my mom told me I was special.
And then she smacked the shit.
Well, no. It was a dawning realization for me. She told me I was special for years. And then one day when I was at school, I looked around and I realized everyone else in my class that I was in, we had some kids in the corner chewing crayons, and one kid who couldn't read that well. And then I realized where I was. And I was like, oh, I am special.
Yeah.
Like, for realsies. Oh, she froze. She froze in time. I think we lost you.
She'll come back to us.
She'll come back. She'll come back.
There we go. We hear you.
Yeah, there we go.
Fantastic.
Hey,
So
here we are.
up there in North Carolina where you're stationed now, did you happen to come across any of these bizarre weather phenomenons we've had during the hurricane? And were you affected by it at all, or any of your loved ones that you know about?
No, actually, my family in Georgia, they were affected by it. So my son Elijah, that I was just telling you about, he's in South Georgia, and they were without power for I think on like over 2 weeks. And my mom, she's in South Georgia, but not as far south as my son. She's on the hospital grid, so she only lost power for a couple of hours. But they had a lot of extreme wind, a lot of rain, but and then my niece, I think she was without power for like 2 weeks too. She lived more out in the rural areas, but thankfully that was the extent of their brush with the. I think it was the first hurricane that came through. They weren't affected by Milton at all. But then I have friends in Augusta, Georgia, and North Augusta, South Carolina. They really had a lot of damage there. But
was it any kind of like
was
it any kind of damage like Asheville and North Carolina area? Was it anything of like kind of close to that kind of magnitude?
I think in Augusta, in North Augusta, they had a lot of down trees and power lines. People, like trees and houses and in the roads. I think it was pretty bad. I drove through there, but I was on I-20. So I didn't actually go through Augusta and North Augusta. I just kind of bypassed it on I-20. It was like maybe the week after the hurricane, or a week or two after. And there was still a lot of trees even down on this, on the side, on I-20. So yeah, I think it was pretty bad, but no, nobody in, I didn't know anybody in North Carolina.
That's good that all your loved ones were safe and all your friends and family were not affected by that at all. I have family in Florida and they were not affected by it. They were able to get out. So I was very blessed with that.
I have family in Florida, but I haven't talked to them since I was a kid, so I have no idea. But hey, hoping it's good.
Hoping they're all right. Huh?
Yeah, hoping
the
it's all
bloodline's
good,
got to
dude.
continue, right?
Yeah. No, we don't want that bloodline continuing, I promise you.
So is there anything that you don't want us to ask you or talk to you about?
Yeah.
Oh no, and anything's fair game. Whatever you.
Okay,
whatever
cool.
you
I have a
wanna
question.
ask.
I have a question. Okay, so if so you obviously have life experiences, and you've got a few years under your belt, and you're able to like kind of reflect back on things where
that's the nicest way to call somebody old I've ever heard.
She's not old. She's not old.
I mean,
She doesn't look
I'm
old.
getting there.
You don't look old. Evan
Thank
looks
you.
old. Evan looks like a dried raisin with a beard.
That's right. I don't lotion.
Unless he gets
Dried
all
raisin.
self-conscious, then he turns into a grape with a beard. Yeah, do you see how I just did that?
I did.
Like one's plump, one's shriveled up. Yeah, you're still plump, bro.
Anyway, let's get back to the question.
So growing up, all the way up until your point in your life now, were there any kind of like conspiracies that you thought were total bullcrap? like things you heard about like the government or some top secret thing, and or conspiracies in general, right? Like they usually have to do with the government half the time.
Yeah.
Was there anything that you heard growing up that you're like, oh, whatever, or did you like buy into one, find out it was real, and then all of a sudden, or buy into one, but then find out it wasn't real? But because like nowadays, like especially now as of 2024, we've come to find out that a lot of the conspiracies we've heard about that everyone dismissed for like 40, 50 years turns out to be true. So I don't know. Is there anything that like kind of like a Uno reverse card that happened to you in that way where you just were like, oh hey, this is total
Oh
bullshit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Totally. So I graduated from college in 1990, and my degree was in dietetics and food service management. So dietetics is essentially it's nutrition, but it's kind of based around disease processes.
hmm
And so most everything that I learned in college is now I know was funded by the American Dietetic Association, the American
hmm
Heart Association, the American Medical Association, all of those that are all intertwined in the medical industrial complex.
hmm
So, I mean, I didn't know. I mean, I was young. I go to school. I think I'm learning, what
hmm
I need to learn to do my job. So, the second job that I had in my field was I was working for a cardiologist, and I must have been, I don't know, like 24, 25 or something.
hmm
And she was approached by a cardiologist. I think he's from Dallas, actually, or was from Dallas. And he wanted to come in and buy her practice. He wanted to bring in all these other doctors. And mind you, it was just her and this sweet little Peruvian doctor. And, she would have these conversations with her patients as she knew about their lives. She cared about them, all of that stuff. Anyway, they wanted to turn, her office into this big thing. And so, anyway, that's when I started kind of realizing that the that's when I started being inclined to think, what is going on with the medical industry? Because they want to turn this into a big centralized office and move it away from this personal care that she's giving to her patients. And that's kind of where I started getting clued in. And I ended up getting pregnant with my first son. And so I kind of stopped working to stay home. And at that point, I was just, I guess, waking up to these things and realizing that medical care is turning into this industry where they want returning customers. The business model is brilliant, because if you can stay sick and stay symptomatic, then I can keep you as a customer, and insurance is going to pay for this. So we're going to keep getting the money. You know what I mean? And it's like sick care. And I think that's what Jay Gulanello says as well. It's not a healthcare system, it's sick care system. So during the time when I was a stay-at-home mom for quite some time, I moved away from a lot of the things that I had, learned in college, honestly. And I realized that most of that stuff was BS, and I need to relearn the right things.
hmm
I was back in the day. My oldest son, he'll be 30 in December. He did have some vaccinations, but most of the ones I refused, and especially after the other ones came along, I was like anti-vax
hmm
when it wasn't cool, you know what I mean? Way back in the day, because
Yeah, I think it
because I
wasn't
knew.
cool. I think it stayed not cool up until like a couple years ago.
Yeah, you're ahead of the bell curve.
You were way ahead.
Yeah, I was definitely way ahead of it, and we were homeschooling. I homeschooled my kids too.
That's amazing.
We were very going against the grain with many things. And that's kind of always, where, where I've been.
Yeah. No, and that's everything about what you just said, especially they're leading up until like basically like this indoctrination that happens. You go and you think you're learning, you think you're getting educated, you think you're getting this knowledge set, and then come to find out the people who are teaching you, they're fully indoctrinated as well, because they're just repeating the same stuff that they're being told what to say, and they think it's true. It's kind of like I've had arguments with a couple doctors with my kids, especially when my youngest son was born. At the doctor's office, or at the hospital, they came and they basically tried. I stepped out to go to the bathroom, and when I was stepped away, they came over while their mom, who just gave birth just a short little while ago, it hadn't even been 24 hours yet, like a full 24 hours. They were wanting to have her like basically sign this form so they could give my son these literally a vaccination. The child was he was just born, and they're wanting to stick a needle in him. And that dog and I walked in, and she filled me in on what was going on. And I was like, well, did you sign it? And she was like, no, I didn't. I said no. Well, that doctor, and this is in Kansas, by the way. I'm gonna, in Salina, Kansas. I'm gonna give the location too, because there's only one hospital over there in that podunk town. I'm making sure to say it because they're all pieces of shit. But that doctor decided to he basically tried to go around her. Like, basically, like, even though the mom said no, he still was trying to get it done. And so I went over to him because after I got filled in what was going on, I was like, hey, we're not doing that, blah, blah, blah. And basically, he tried to use some basically like $5 words on me. And I just looked at him and I said, if you come near my son with that needle, I'm going to not just break your face. You're not going to be breathing. Like, I got really mad because I do not believe in giving a child who's freshly born foreign substance. It's going to mess. Well, one, I had already done a lot of research and I already knew it's going to mess with the development of his brain in a very crucial stage of his life, which is literally just coming into the world. He can't even look around yet. His eyes are still like what's going on, and that moment right there was a big turning point for me, even harder, because I was never anti-vax, but everyone labeled me as one because I was very particular about it. I would say, no, I don't want my kids to have this until they're a certain age, once their brains are past a certain development stage, from what I had researched about at the time. But it's just like, even like now, like my kids have had some vaccines now, but only the ones that I've handpicked. And it's been the ones that are from a while back. It was nothing, not the new renditions where when you get a shot, you're getting like 10 things in one, go.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, like every year we have to fill out a thing, I think it's not an affidavit. It's a waiver for school because if you're not fully vaccinated, they require you to have a waiver. And in some states, you can't get a waiver continuously. They'll give you a waiver for an extended amount of time. Like California is one of them, and Washington. They force you to be fully vaccinated for your kid to go to public school, which is silly because new data has just come out showing that just this past month, it's been getting out, where it's showing they did a full contrast between children and adults who are not vaccinated or fully vaccinated versus people who are fully vaccinated. And the people who are less vaccinated to no vaccinations are 10 times, like, ridiculously healthier. They do not have all these issues. The cases of autism are drastically reduced. The cases of true ADHD is drastically reduced. The cases of Down syndrome are almost non-existent. But yet, when you look at the vaccinated children and adults, a mixture of both, the rate of autism it's like literally increased by like 80-something%. ADHD, 80-something, like it's basically right up there around in the 80% range. And then Down syndrome was, in comparison to the other ones, like it was like 100-something% because it was almost every, like, out of the percentage of people that they did, it was something ridiculous. It was even more than the autism and ADHD. And it's just like,
Wow.
evidence is there. And plus, we already know that there was, court cases that people had won. That's why you can't sue pharmaceutical companies for vaccines. Took place in the 90s.
Right.
There's been a outcry of doctors and medical professionals who are trying to go against the grain nowadays and trying to teach the public and the civilians of America and the world that the doctors and the FDA and all these other officials who run the health in America are trying to just kill you and keep you sedated. So the fact that back whenever you were graduating college in 1990, that they were probably just starting out these sort of tactics to lay waste to our health system speaks volumes of where we are now, going on, was that 34 years later? So
Yeah.
hopefully with RFK Jr. being more prominent in the health realm, that we will have a more of an awakening and an eye-opening experience, that you need to potentially just eat better and exercise more and read and do more healthy activities like grounding outside, spending time in sunlight to actually cure your ailments instead of just putting them off to next week, filling yourself with vaccines and filling yourself with pills and all these other sort of medications that aren't really helping anything. I know you spoke on Jay Gulanello recently, just a moment ago, friend of the show, guest of the show as well. He is a big proponent of just getting rid of your doctor and finding a holistic doctor. So my family and I, we do holistic everything, holistic dentists, holistic doctors, everything. of that
Nice.
nature.
I went a whole step farther than everyone. I don't even go to the doctor. I straight up don't, and it's
Well,
weird.
that's me too.
Like I never go, and the thing is, I don't have the problems everyone else has, like at all. And on top of that, like it's funny because like me and Evan here, actually, how we met, we worked at a trash company. We were both drivers for there, and things like that. The trucks with the claw that goes out and grabs the can. I like the claw game. Okay, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're the trash truck drivers.
Yeah, but I know automatic side loaders
Yeah,
though.
it's
We weren't the
that's
guy.
a
We weren't.
yeehaw moment
We
right
weren't
there,
the
bud.
peasants that were on the back. Okay, having to get out and do that. I mean, we still had to do that too sometimes.
Yeah,
but
we did.
But we were by ourselves. But no, it's like there. I reflect back on working there because I worked there for over 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. And when I was there, you work in trash, so you're getting nasty stuff on you all the time. You're in trucks that are not sanitary at all, and I would get sick when I was there, but I always get sinus infections, and that's what gets me because I worked in the grain industry a long time, and so working in a grain elevator, Milo and stuff that would just like go up into my sinuses, and it's like little hooks under a microscope. So ever since then, I always got sinus infections. Well, when I was there, when I would get sick, it would turn into like a cold or something. And then anytime I got a severe cold, typically it turned into a sinus infection. Well, everyone else, pretty much every person we worked with, except for there was like these outlier people that the only reason that they didn't get as sick as everyone else all the time was mainly because they weren't around that long. But then too, they were actually somewhat healthy. Like they actually took care of themselves, they exercised, all that stuff. And it's weird to reflect back on it because when I look back on working in just the trash industry, all of them, like people would get dog sick.
Oh, really?
And they would
sick.
be gone for 4 days or 3 days, like puking, crazy fever, like all this stuff. But yet I would just get a cold, and it would just be periodic when that would happen. And that was normally due to the fact that, you work in trash, though. You're still getting germs on you, whether you liked it or not.
It's because you were licking the juice off your fingers. That's the biggest
dude.
problem. You're
Dude, especially when I would see, like, those diapers and stuff.
oh, the
packed
trash
with
juice,
fold.
dude. Oof.
Oh, dude, it's a great thing.
Something special about that
It was-
juice. It's horrific.
It smelled so bad. Yeah, so it just, like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, even the dentist is one of them too.
Your teeth are very vital for your health.
I know, but dentists are bullshit too half the time. Because so for instance, let me give an example.
Please do.
I'm not saying dentist is a bad thing. I'm saying that the practice that they teach for these certain things of maintaining your oral hygiene gives you cavities.
Like flossing?
No, flossing's bad for you. Did you know that? It damages your gums. Flossing is all the data just got released. All these dentists have band together like the doctors did for like the C word. I can't say it because they'll flag us again and all that stuff. The pandemic thing. But no, they even like did the thing about flossing.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, flossing. And I already knew that flossing would hurt your teeth if you did it too often.
Oh, dang, but I love flossing. It feels so
I
good.
hate it. I don't like that. My teeth are very like tight knit together, so it's like, nah, fuck that. But no, it's just like with dentists.
But when you eat salami or a hamburger, you have to.
Yeah, I mean there are certain.
Sometimes.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying I never floss. I'm saying I just don't do it morning and night like they say to do it.
I don't
Because
either. Yeah, me
when I
either.
did that, I noticed that I was getting cavities more often, and my gums were just hurting all the time. And the reason why I stopped was because when I went to a dentist, it was actually up in Kansas. Lo and behold, the hospital sucked, but the dentist up there was rock solid. He was great. He was just this old time farmer dude. He would just like bring in there'd be a cow sitting in the stall next to us. He'd be like, all right, get on the table.
He's cleaning the cow's teeth.
Yeah. He's
Cleaning the cow's teeth, the same utensils that he's cleaning your teeth with.
Yeah, dude. And he actually was talking to me, and he just straight up told me, he was just like, this is the third time you've been in here, and I keep telling you, you need to brush better. And I'm like, dude, I brush the shit out of my teeth. I don't know what you're talking about. And he just straight up told me, he's like, are you using a soft bristle or a hard bristle toothbrush? I'm like, I have no idea. One of them, I don't know. Whatever, gets the food off my teeth. I just go and grab one at the store,
Cheapest one on the shelf.
Yeah, like I don't even pay attention to it. And he straight up told me, he's like, always use a hard bristle toothbrush. He's like, never use a soft bristle. And I was like, well, I heard that if you use a hard bristle all the time, it would mess up with you. He goes, don't buy into that bullshit. This is literally what he told me. He's like, don't buy into that bullshit. He's like, what happens when you come in here? He's like, I take a metal device with a poker on it and start stabbing you all the whole time you're here. He's like, if using a hard bristle toothbrush, which isn't the same as this, it's not metal, those bristles flex. He was like, that's the only way you're going to get the stuff that builds up on your teeth off. He's like, if you don't use that and you're always using a soft bristle all the time, he's like, well, you're going to get cavities and you're going to be in here. And I was like, oh, I stopped doing it. I have not had a cavity since.
Explains why your breath smells so bad.
No, that's just from nicotine and beer. There's a difference, dude. There's a difference. But yeah, no, I'm not saying that dentists are BS. Dental hygiene is wildly important, but after talking with that guy, he had told me a few things, and he was just like, the things that they tell people are like the normal thing to do. He's like, all my patients would have no teeth if that was the case. They'd always be in here, and he's like, I'm not doing that to people. I'm here to make sure you have good teeth, and I don't see you again. And that's literally what he said to me, and that's
Interesting.
Jena, do you get massages?
That's cool.
Massages as well.
I used to. I don't as much as I would like to or probably need to. I don't know if I told you guys, but I play beach doubles volleyball.
Oh yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah, I play like every day for probably like 2 or 3 hours.
You had a game today, didn't you?
I played today.
Did you win?
Well, I played. I usually play like probably anywhere from 5 to maybe like 8 games. And the people that I play with, the people I played with today were really competitive.
You know what?
Really competitive.
So what you're saying is you guys took a L. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, and it's
you know what?
taken me a
Screw
while.
that other team. We all know they're taking steroids.
The game was rigged. They're paying the refs.
Yeah, we've seen what happens when people take bull stuff and inject it in the butt cheeks. They're cloud people. If there was any dudes or chicks in there,
They're cloud people.
if their biceps were as big as my head, Now you know why it was an unfair game.
Full test. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, dang! Look
Look
at
at them
jacked.
guns.
You're jacked.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Making you look like a puss. That's what you look like.
That's impressive.
I'm just kidding. I feel very demasculated now, but that's okay.
Sorry.
No, you're not, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
that's
you should have
okay,
never.
too.
You should have never.
Yeah, like as
No,
long.
but
yeah,
but
go
no,
ahead.
I was gonna say I usually, I mean, I don't injure myself that much, but I did actually I pulled my hamstring into my glute doing a heel hook climbing
Yeah.
a couple of months ago. A couple of months ago, and then all the volleyball is kind of like did a little bit aggravated. So I'm kind of I really need a massage for it because I think the inflammation now is causing a little bit of sciatica down my leg.
That'll do it.
So yeah,
So what
I
you're
need
saying
to I need
is-
to do it.
So what you're saying is you had a Conor McGregor moment.
I don't even know what that means.
And maybe
He
so.
broke his ankle. Right
she
there.
didn't break her ankle. She
I know.
sprained her hamstring.
But
No.
her team took a loss because she had a hurt ankle.
all you need to do.
That's what happened.
No.
Dr. Evans here. Get a little turmeric in your system. Take that in. Get a little tallow, a little beef. You should be good. Good and right as
beef?
day. Yeah.
Hell yeah, do a little protein. Wait.
Well, I ate a lot of protein. I don't do turmeric as much, but I do eat a lot of protein. So I don't know. It's fine. A massage would help it though.
I have sprained my hamstring probably 1,000 times doing heel hooks and toe hooks and all of those likes
Really?
while rock climbing. I have in fact ripped every single tendon in my left hand and my right hand while climbing as well. So it's just a part of the sport. If you're not stretching enough and getting enough turmeric and all these fantastic vitamins, and you're gonna hurt yourself very quick.
I feel very fortunate. Whenever I was doing rock climbing, I never broke or tore any like ligaments or tendons or anything
I've
like
cracked
that.
a helmet before. I took a mad whipper and just hit myself right in the forehead on a shelf. It was brutal.
I keep forgetting that you and I did two very different forms of climbing. So I did not do the climbing where you had harnesses and it was all free climbing, and we would do it up there in the mountains up in like when I lived in Colorado and stuff. So it was like if you decided
nice.
to climb up on a fingertip hold and you're 50 feet to 100 foot in the air and there's nothing underneath you for 100 feet, well, you better not let go type situation. So like I've never broken anything or torn ligaments or tendons. However, there was there was this one rock face that we climbed up and we were pretty high up, but it was like there was like a boulder, and then there was like obviously like a natural water erosion. So the rock had like smoothed out compared to the other rocks around it, but it was still this giant rock formation that went down at this super like extremely steep angle. Like you cannot go up that rock. It's impossible. You fall right down. We were going on each side of it where the rock was like rigid, where you could actually grab onto. Well, the rock I was holding onto broke. It like just came right out the moment I grabbed it.
And now we're talking to Ghost Ben.
Yikes.
Yeah, and I went right down that slippery. Yeah, I went right down that slippery slope, and I had road rash for days.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like literally from my calf all the way up to the like base of my neck was just raw.
So I brought
red
up
blood.
massages because I have a story to tell about a
That's
massage.
terrible.
So today I went and got a massage, and I went to a turtle sanctuary to get my massage. It is a rescue place where this lovely woman gives massages, and there are turtles. It is.
That's so cool.
I had no idea that it was a turtle sanctuary. Let's put that up front as well.
So what you're saying is
Okay.
you are turtly enough for the turtle club.
I'm definitely turtly enough. I don't know what that is referring to. but
Master of
yes,
disguise.
You lost me.
Am I not
yeah,
turtly
I knew
enough?
that.
So, oh, you knew that? Oh man.
She knew it. See, she's not.
Yeah.
She's cultured. You're
Turning
uncultured.
up
How
for the
dare
turtle
you?
club.
Yeah, there you go. Boat in the water. Shock in the water.
So here I am, pants off, shirt off, getting massaged, and there's a 100-year-old tortoise walking by. It was it was the best experience.
That's pretty cool.
It was very, very fun. She had two tortoises that were like 100 years old, and they were in there.
They put some GHB in that baby old dude. They got P. Diddy over there. That's why you're seeing tortoises.
What is
Just
happening?
tripping out. Oh,
And she had like 45 box turtles, and she had She had a red toad tortoise as well. That was like a dog. It would come up to you and beg for treats. It was fantastic.
Why didn't you
No
tell me
way.
about this?
Because I wanted to tell you now.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm thankful for that.
It was an amazing experience.
Whoa,
it was
dude.
amazing.
Well, it was probably an experiment too.
Yeah, it was. She probably just went to bought all those turtles just to fuck with me, right? Just
Yeah. See, this is where I differentiate from the general populace. I don't like being touched by people I don't know. Like I don't even want you to touch
I
me.
mean, that's
Like,
valid.
I do not do it, and especially when he was like, "Yeah, I was sitting there with no pants, no shirt, getting massaged in this giant turtle." If I somehow was in the position where, like, I don't know, I got coerced or a gun put to my head to go lay on this table, and in the same, what was it? Vulnerable state is the best way to put it.
some call it vulnerable, some call it sexy. It's however you want to see it.
Right. We're talking vulnerable here. And I saw a turtle, game over. I would literally just flop right up. I don't care if the towel's on me or not. I just like shoot right off that table, and I would literally be like, "What you put in the oil?" I would freak out.
Would you really?
I'm already in a
You
heightened
thought-
state. What was that?
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to relax if that's your state of mind anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Ben's always at 100. That's just where he idles. He doesn't have a sense of relaxation, unfortunately. I don't know if you happened to catch the last two episodes. Well, I think 2 episodes ago, whenever he started screaming about Kamala and all those individuals, we had a comment saying that he was Kamala-ing.
Oh, God.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, I got told by a lefty that I was Kamalaing because I said if you're a dude and you vote for Kamala, you're a pussy. I mean, I don't. Just as a dude, it's just like what? Like it has nothing to do with her being a
Like,
woman.
why?
It's just it has to do with
Yeah.
the fact that she's just a weak individual. It's like what about that is enticing in any way for you to be like your leader? It's like you're either a simp or you're being told to like her by your partner. Something I have no idea, but you're obviously a little bitch.
I'm going to go back to the tortoise. I'm
gonna go back to the doors. I gotta default out of here. Yeah, of course you would. You would just go right.
I
back
cannot
to the
wait
turtle.
for my next massage. She had guns up on the wall too. It was badass.
Whoa, shit, guns? All right, I'm already comfortable.
It was badass.
I'm not getting a massage though. I just want to
Okay.
sit in there.
That's a game changer there.
Yeah, it was really fun. She had guns up the wall, tortoises everywhere, and she was rubbing my calves. It was great.
It's too close to the feet. No
So
good.
I have a question about this facility. So are the turtles inside, like, or was this like outside
So
where you got the massage?
it is in the backyard of her house.
Okay.
Yeah, she has one of the tortoises living inside of the house whenever it gets cold because it can't handle the colder temperatures, and that's the one that acts like a dog who asks for food and treats and pets and wants to be held all the time.
Now, is she serious about that, or is she just saying that like that's her interpretation of it, and she's just senile?
Oh, it walked right up to me. It like started like crawling up my leg trying to get my attention.
Did you punch it?
No, I gave it a pet. I like animals, Ben.
How big is that one?
It was like this big.
Oh, that's
Wow.
nothing.
Yeah, but then the tortoise, the
Big Bertha.
the African tortoises were like the size of oh my god,
This table?
like a 26-inch tire. It was huge.
That's what I'm talking about.
It was a
baby,
big ass
right there.
tortoise. It was cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I will say this, when I got to see
Very cool.
those large turtles, well, these are sea turtles. I got to see like large I love sea turtles. I think sea turtles are awesome. Mainly because I watched Finding Nemo, years ago,
Right.
and I was just like, dude,
Dude.
yeah, see, you're uncultured. She's cultured. But it's just like my wife and I went to South Padre, and when we were down there, we went scuba diving, and then we went, and the last day we were there, they have a sea turtle sanctuary because all the sea turtles go up. That's where they nest, and they have all like we were hoping to catch them going out to sea.
What do they taste
Because
like?
it was during the season. What? How dare you talk about sea turtles that way? I don't care if it's a
I mean,
regular
we
turtle.
Eat chicken eggs, quail
I've
eggs,
eaten regular
duck
turtles.
eggs.
Sea turtles are off limits.
Why can't we eat sea turtle eggs? What are they protected
They're-
or something?
But they're extinct, though, right? Aren't they protected sea turtles?
Yeah.
they are. They are. You couldn't
can't
see
eat
it.
those eggs, you'll go to prison.
Could you reenact that so she could see it? I don't think the camera wasn't on you, so when you did the over exaggerate.
What are they, protected or something?
There you go. That's what I got to stare at. It
Clip
was great.
it, put it up.
Clip it.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. But no, like when we were there doing that, like the sea turtles were really cool. Like the whole thing going into their sanctuary, like where they like, you know, because they'll kick them out of the water, especially if they're wounded, things like that, and they like literally splint them up, heal them up. You know, there's some sea turtles that have like diseases that they've contracted out that they're super contagious. Like you don't want to touch them even with your own hands because you'll get it. Like it can kill you, and it'll kill the other turtles. So they keep them contained in their own area, but they're also giving them treatment to help try to like solve that problem.
It's like bats. If you go into a cave, you're not supposed to bring the same clothes you wore into another cave because it will kill the bats.
Nah, dude, I'm Batman. I already know how this works. You're wrong.
Okay.
Fact checked. Sorry.
Fact check. Hey, I was told there's no fact checking here.
Oh,
That's fair. We're wrong half the time. We're actually turning out to be right, which is scary. It makes me not want to do the podcast anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, you heard it here first, folks. Ben's done.
I am getting close to being done with that because then I'm going to be a target. So, you know. But no, so like I will say this, the only animal that I got, so like I'm terrified of open water. I love the beach. I'm just terrified of open water.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mainly because I've drowned before a few times in my younger days, and you know, when I was a little kid, and so there's that. But then also you can't really see what's in that water far out, you know. And South Padre is like literally capital for the Gulf, for the great hammerheads, sharks, for tiger sharks, bull sharks, great whites, not as much, but they have been seen in the kind of the area of of the Gulf there, but they're not like right up on Padre. It's very like non-existent. But all like litany of other sharks are out there, and they're all very dangerous. Like they will mess you up. And whenever we were scuba diving, I was really paranoid because like, you know, the water is like that emerald teal water, but where we were scuba diving at, it was like there was other people scuba diving with us, and we were in water that was like neck deep. So if you stand up, you're going to kick up a bunch of sediment. And the guy literally said, hey, when you get in the water and you obviously when you get off the boat, you may touch the ground that time. No big deal. Just try not to touch the ground as much as possible. Yeah, all these tourists and like all these other people who were there on vacation did not do that at all. And it was just a giant cloud of murk everywhere on and off, like constantly. And while I was down there, my wife was down scuba diving with me for a minute until a jellyfish, like there's this tiny little jellyfish. Well, I forgot what the type it is. It's the kind that you can literally grab it and it doesn't sting you. Like the sting on it is so like the what's on their tentacles is so tiny, you don't really feel anything. But that was a huge note for her. The moment there was a jellyfish within a foot of her, she was like, "Nope, done," and she got out immediately.
Thankfully, you were carrying your Glock 19 down there with you.
Dude, I had a freaking Bowie knife in my mouth the whole time, ready to just stab a fish if it got too close. But no, like I started getting paranoid on and off because I would turn and I'd look around, and all the sediment got kicked up, so you couldn't see anything. But there's still sunlight coming down on the other side of the sediment. So if someone's on the other side of it, you're seeing a giant shadow through it. Well, there was one person who was on the other side, and she was rather large. And the way she was swimming, that's basically what's going on in my head. All of a sudden, I see this thing move like this across the water, but on the other side of the murkiness. And when I see it, I was just like I just felt my heart just seize, and I was like, of course, there's a giant shark, and he's already working his way in here to, you know, I'm the only guy on the menu here that probably is gonna taste good because everyone else there like was either like super super skinny or wildly overweight. So it was just like
that's one fat shark, dude.
Well, that's why I was like, I'm not that way. I actually take care of myself. So I was like, meats. It's like a Lord of the Rings moment, like where he's like, meat's back on the menu, boys. That's basically what I thought he was doing on the other side.
And then you heard the trombone.
Yeah. Well, no. So like, then I realized it wasn't. I chilled out, but then I noticed that there was this fish swimming, and it was a pretty, it was only about like this big, or no, sorry, it was about like that. It was a sand shark. This sand shark was running away from everyone in the water, but for some reason, it swam right up to me and would not leave my side. It was just chilling with me, and then I was like, I realized he wouldn't leave my side, and I like put my hand out, but I didn't like put a finger out. I put a clenched fist in case it did try to bite. I didn't want to get a whole finger in there, dude. Like, what if he takes it off? I'm pretty fond of my digits.
Be a great story.
So I give it. I kind of like put my hand out a little bit, and he like gets real close to me, and his little side fin just taps me right on the top of my hand.
That's
and
cute.
I was like, bro, just fist bump me, and then he just kind of swam away from everybody, just all casually at that point. I was so excited after that point. I literally it was the end of it for me. I got out of the thing, and I was so excited to tell her. I was like, shark just became my friend. Fist bump me or fin bump me.
There you go.
We're totes cool. Across the board now.
That's cool.
And then, of course, my wife had to make a joke, and she's like, "So you're gonna go swimming with the bigger sharks?" Fuck that. No.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I think I would.
No.
I think that I would if they had those cages like on Shark Week that I can go hop in. Yeah, I might do that.
That's fair.
But I'm not gonna go wear the
In a
chainmail
cage.
suit. Yeah, in the cage. Yeah, I would do it in the cage.
Yeah.
And if they gave me the chainmail jumpsuit, I probably wouldn't want to do that. That doesn't sound exciting or worth my time by any means.
I would only get in the cage if I was armed with a weapon that could blow them up.
So anyway, I started blasting.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. Anyways, I started blasting. Anyways, I'm gonna change subject so I don't sit here and talk about sharks.
I'm gonna ask you, Jena.
Come on, dude.
I'm gonna get it right one of these days. I apologize.
You're the worst.
Don't worry.
No, you have to worry. That's female language. She means the opposite.
I'm aware. My wife yells at me all the time.
Yeah.
We've had you here for an hour or so already. How much longer do we have you? I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you're an hour
you're
ahead
good.
over there.
I'm chilling. I'm dog sitting and pet sitting because they have a cat too for my daughter and her husband. So all the pets are asleep. So we're good.
Yes,
Cool.
love to hear it.
Good. So, well, I will say I do in about, I would say 10 minutes. I'll have to go.
Okay. well,
Unfortunately,
that answers my question.
Yeah. Why didn't you ask me, dude? That's right.
Ben,
you
how
don't
much
care
longer
about
do
what
I have
think.
you?
About, I don't know. I was gonna at least do another 10 minutes.
Gotcha.
There you go. Real mature, dude. Real mature.
Jena, do you have any words of advice for anybody that you want to pass on with your infinite wisdom?
Well, I wouldn't say it's infinite wisdom, but I think like the thing that I probably regret when my kids were younger, that I was I feel like I was kind of stressed about, I don't know, because it's it's kind of chaotic when you have 3 kids, and especially homeschooling, and things are kind of chaotic. And I mean, we had a great time and I enjoyed them, but sometimes I feel like I didn't appreciate the moments as much as I could have. And I think the older I get, the more I realize that it's good to be in the moments and enjoy, like, whoever you're with, like if you're with your friends or with loved ones or whatever, instead of worrying about something later or worrying about something in the past, just living in that moment and appreciating your life, being grateful, and and not overthinking and getting too stressed about other things in life, because the moments sometimes that we get that are just chill, or they're funny, or whatever it is, we shouldn't take those for granted, I guess is what I'm saying. I think appreciate and live in the moments and make the best of the moments.
Yeah.
Especially with your loved ones, and especially with your kids if they're little.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I mean, my kids are now, I have one that's in high school now. So it's like mine are all like
Wow.
staggered like 2 years apart, all the way down to the end of elementary, going through intermediate, middle school, and then now high school. And I agree with you 100%. But at the same time, if it's the past, you can if you're gonna regret it, like obviously there's gonna be regret. I deal, I always beat myself up about stuff with my kids all the time, as if like, oh well, I should have been, I wasted that weekend. Like I could have spent more time with them doing this or doing that, doing that. I've gotten to the point where, especially after like being so deep dived into psychology and then like bringing myself back into it again for like just my own personal self, like just research and study. It's fine if you're going to regret it, feel that regret that happens, but never let it last more than a day. Always move past it and be like, okay, well, you can't change the past. You just can't. So the only thing you can do is just change it going forward. So it's like, if you mess up the next day, okay, well, you just messed up. Okay, you lost that battle with yourself. Go to the next one. Because that's sorry, in my head, it always comes down to, the only person you're competing with is yourself. And it applies to every single category that you experience in life. And this is one of them, where it's like, well, I could have, taken more advantage of this time at this place, 20 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever it is, but at the same time, it's like, well, you can't do anything to change it. So there's no point in dwelling on it. Instead of dwelling on that, why don't you dwell, my mindset's always is now going to the point of like, all right, dwell on what's tomorrow. Like dwell on now and tomorrow. Don't dwell on 2 weeks ago. It's the past now. What was it that there was that kids movie, Oogway from Kung Fu Panda, where he says the past is the past, but the present is a gift.
That's right.
Yeah.
Some untold wisdom in that kids movie, I tell you what. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Yeah, don't be too hard on yourself because, you kind of have to, especially with parenting, you kind of have to, sometimes you have to learn as you go. And I mean, kids,
Yeah.
they understand that, I think, too,
I think they get it when they get older, like
especially,
yeah, like because my oldest daughter is technically my stepdaughter, and I know there's things, when she's finally an adult and she's in her, like going into her 20s or 30s or whatever, at some point there's going to be a click that happens where she looks back on moments from her life growing up and going, oh, that's why. Or, well, I understand, I get this now. I understand why it had to be that way. Like, I get why things played out the way they did and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, children and teenagers see in black and white, while adults and individuals who have lived a more experienced life see in gray. So
I saw it in purple, dude.
You gotta kind of keep that in mind as well. So
yeah, dude. I was in the special classes.
Anyway.
Remember? I was special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mama always told me I was special.
She used to also beat me with rubber hose and call me a retard. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't help throw that in there.
All right.
But yeah, no, oh, I think she froze. Oh, she's back again. Yay. So no, we do appreciate you coming on.
Froze.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah. You're good.
Okay, cool. But no, we appreciate you coming on and talking about stuff. We should do another episode though, in the future, at some point in the near future, because I already knew, because I was telling him about it, and we've also just seen it with other guests and stuff, that if they've never been on a podcast before, especially like when there's no like real formalities that take place beforehand, it can like it's like it's always like a kind of like a rough start. I don't think this is really this was a rough start because we were having technical issues. It was a rough start for us,
for sure.
Oh yeah, we'll cross the board. But yeah, no, like it's one of those things, like obviously everyone's loosened up now at this point, but now it's like we've already been going for well over an hour, and it's like oh crap, it's getting close to time. But we should do another one because I do want to talk about I really want to dive into really more into the health and fitness, but but with where that really applies is more of how like the longevity aspect, as years keep, stacking up and stacking up, of where someone who's been through obviously some pretty tremendous things, fighting cancer and all that stuff. And it's just like, what longevity, are you doing for your health and fitness type thing, because there's so many different talking points in that. We like didn't really cover that part of it a whole lot. And I'm a huge health and fitness person, and everything. And I know he is too.
Yeah, the two of us. All three of us here are.
Yeah. Look at that. 3 health junkies. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, no, there's some other stuff too. It's just, just like, culture changes over the years, because just from when I was a kid to now, there's a huge swing and change. So it's like, and I know you're a little bit older than we are. So it's just like, I know that you went through probably other ones that we, can't really comprehend. We can understand it to an extent, but we didn't live it. There's a huge difference between understanding something or, the concept of it, but versus, living it and understanding it because you went through it. It's a very different experience. So it's just like, no, there was a litany of things to unpack in like topic wise and everything. So no, I really hope that you want to come on again and we can do another, since there's more formalities in place now. We actually
absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to. Especially the fitness stuff. I love that.
Yeah, we used to have an old platform before we rebranded into this one, and we had actually, I think it was 2 episodes on there that were like 2.5, 3 hours each. I think it was, right? 2.5, 3 hours, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we just went right into all, because I used to be a personal trainer, and then I walked away from that because I realized that even the personal training system is dog crap, and most personal trainers don't know anything across the board. And it's like a giant,
I would agree with that.
It's just like a big Ponzi scheme. It's basically turned into car dealerships. Gyms have. They're just car dealerships. That's all they are. They have someone who goes out and talks to you. It's like, oh, health and fitness. Let me show you. I'm a personal trainer. Oh, you're just that car salesman that read a pamphlet and you can say us things about a new car, but you don't even know how to put the car together. You don't even know how to build a car. So why am I talking to you? You know what I mean? And especially when it comes to human body, that's wildly important. Like, yeah, you can talk about this particular model. If you want this kind of coat, which is like, oh, you want cloud people muscles? Here, do this, do that. But it's like, we want to know about the inside too, keeping your internal health of everything going on with your body is wildly just as important or even more important than the exterior. So it's just like, that's something that doesn't get talked about. And we did episodes where we just like went into it.
Yes, we have many times.
We have not done that on the Smartly and Educated platform, though, I don't think.
We've talked about fitness before and the importance of having it in your daily rituals and treating it like it's a job almost. But we haven't really dived deep on a broad spectrum of the importance of the longevity of lifting weights and cardiovascular health and whatnot. So that's
calisthenics,
a good
gymnast stuff.
We'll have to bring you on for that one then. Nice long deep dive.
Yeah, because it seems like you kind of have your toes into a few different things in the health and fitness world. Everything, because you're even doing like volleyball, which that's hard. That's a whole other thing. Sports, mixing in sports with just health and fitness in general. I mean, that's like 2 different avenues in there. So it's like you got to be really on top of your A game. So
yeah, let's do it.
Cool.
Well, hell yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on and spending your evening with us. You could have been anywhere else in the world and in your day-to-day life, but thank you for joining it with us and spending it with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been really fun. I'll look forward to another time.
As much as how unorganized we were today with problematic issues that are happening, I blame Evan for 90% of it.
And I blame my dog. So
no, he doesn't. He asks people if they've seen a picture of his dog all the time.
I love my dog.
He literally has a picture of his dog at work. He's like, have you seen a picture of my dog? Have you seen my dog?
I'm obsessed with dogs, so I totally get that.
Well, we have a house. We have a zoo here. Just so you
Really?
Yeah, at the
Nice.
studio,
Yeah.
I think there's 4 dogs around the corner over here. So
Yeah, we've got 4 dogs and
Aw.
3 cats.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's my side hustle is dog sitting and house sitting. So the last 10 days I've been dog sitting.
wow, that's
jeez.
awesome! Holy cow!
Yeah.
My
That's a
Yeah.
lot.
my ultimate goal is to have more property so that I can rescue as many dogs as I possibly can and just let them all run wild out there. That's
Yes, that would be my dream too.
We have a very different outlook on that, man. I would have a bunch of property, but that would just so I could like build a barn and throw the kids and the animals out there because they're little monsters. So I would just throw them all out there and be like, your zone. The rest of the property's for me.
And
Yeah.
that's our time tonight, huh?
Yes. And that's the time. I know. I don't mean to, I want to keep going, but I do have to go to bed.
Yeah, I have to go.
Unfortunately.
I have to go
Yeah,
flash
same.
some V8s tomorrow morning. I'm going climbing at the gym. So
No. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brush it,
brush
dude.
it first, and you crush it afterward. Brush it, crush it.
But anyways, thank you so
Okay.
much for joining us, Jena. See, I got
Yeah,
your name
thank
right.
you.
Evan didn't.
Thank you.
And no, we'll stay in touch, and we will obviously let you know when this airs, and which will be I think
Okay.
next week or something.
Yeah,
this,
Thursday.
next upcoming Thursday. And no, we'll stay
Nice.
in touch, and we'll get it arranged for as long as your schedule allows it, coordination wise. Try to get you on in the near future instead of too far out, and then when everyone forgets about it, because I forget things all the time.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
We'll do it. That sounds great. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you have a good
Yeah.
night.
No.
Nice to meet you.
All right, you two, you guys have a good rest of the weekend.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Fingers on the trigger, they pull without a sound. Behind the glass towers, we're buried underground. Secrets in the shadows, locked inside the mind. MK Ultra memories don't keep us blind. Static on the screen, voices we don't see. Dumpers got us wired, but we're breaking free. They're watching.